Martell Holt, a name many fans of reality television have come to know through his appearances on Love and Marriage, Huntsville, is currently in a critical condition after a shocking high-speed car crash. This incident, just outside Huntsville, Alabama, left Martell in a medically induced coma, and it has sparked a whirlwind of speculation and drama that goes beyond what anyone could have expected. The wreckage, an intense and disturbing sight, left his luxury SUV crumpled beyond recognition after slamming into a concrete barrier. Initial reactions pointed to it being a tragic accident, but as more details emerged, the situation began to unravel into something much darker. The crash itself was severe. When emergency crews arrived on the scene, they described it as one of the most horrific accidents they'd ever encountered. The front of Martell's vehicle was so badly mangled that it barely resembled a car anymore. It didn't look like a typical crash. It appeared as though something much more intense had occurred. The fact that the car's front end had been crushed beyond repair was puzzling, especially given that there was no sign of brake marks or any attempt to slow down. On a flat, open highway in broad daylight, how did a seasoned driver like Martell lose control of his vehicle without even attempting to brake? Initially, many believed the crash could have just been a result of some kind of freak accident. But the investigation quickly started to raise more questions. One of the first red flags was the absence of skid marks on the road. Under normal circumstances, a driver would at least try to slow down before hitting an obstacle, especially with the kind of impact that was visible from the damage. But here, the SUV didn't seem to slow down at all. That was a major clue that something else was going on. As investigators continued to dig deeper into the circumstances of the crash, they uncovered even more strange details. The damage to Martell's vehicle didn't seem to match what would be expected from a single-car collision. The vehicle was smashed from one side, as though it had been hit by something large or heavy. This was no typical accident. It was the kind of damage you would expect from an impact that involved another vehicle, or some kind of external force pushing Martell's SUV into the barrier. With so many unanswered questions, investigators turned to surveillance footage from traffic cameras and nearby businesses. As they sifted through the footage, something strange caught their attention. A black Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon was seen tailing Martell's SUV for several minutes before the crash. This wasn't just a coincidence. The G-Wagon stayed in close pursuit of Martell's vehicle, weaving in and out of traffic, and maintaining a perfect distance behind him. This wasn't just a casual driver, it seemed like someone was following Martell. The surveillance footage didn't show the crash itself, as there were no cameras positioned at the exact spot where Martell's vehicle collided with the barrier. However, the footage of the G-Wagon following Martell was clear and undeniable. This vehicle, which kept pace with Martell for a significant distance, suddenly disappeared from view just before the crash occurred. It was as though the G-Wagon had deliberately moved out of sight just when the collision took place. Then, things took an even more bizarre turn. A woman came forward with a shocking account of what she had witnessed. She was driving just behind both Martell's SUV and the G-Wagon when the crash happened. According to her, the G-Wagon swerved and sideswiped Martell's vehicle at high speed, causing him to lose control. Martell's SUV jerked violently to the side and crashed into the concrete barrier. The impact was so intense that the witness described it as sounding like an explosion. She was so shaken by what she saw that she almost pulled over herself, but what happened next was even more troubling. The G-Wagon didn't stop. It didn't slow down. It didn't check for any damage. It just sped away, disappearing from the scene. But here's the most chilling part, the G-Wagon had no license plates. Not on the front, not on the back, nothing. For such an expensive and high-profile vehicle, this was highly unusual. This wasn't just an oversight, it seemed deliberate, almost as if someone wanted to make sure they couldn't be traced back to the incident. The witness's statement gave the investigation a major new lead, and now the question shifted from what happened to who was responsible for making it happen. As the investigation continued, a tip surfaced that connected the G-Wagon to a very familiar name. According to this anonymous source, a black G-Wagon had recently been purchased by none other than Martell's former close friend and Love and Marriage, Huntsville co-star, Marsau Scott. This revelation set off a firestorm of speculation and drama, as fans began to connect the dots between Martell's crash, the mysterious G-Wagon, and Marsau's involvement. But why would Marsau, someone who had been close friends and business partners with Martell for years, suddenly be connected to such a scandalous incident? Martell and Marsau's relationship had always been complicated, even before the crash. Both men had been through a lot on and off the screen. Martell's public affair and the drama surrounding his marriage to Melody had caused tensions within their friendship, and whispers about Marsau's own secrets began to swirl. Rumors about Marsau's alleged infidelities and questionable late-night activities only added fuel to the fire. It seemed like, even before the crash, their friendship was unraveling. Things between them had been tense for a while, with public jabs being thrown during filming, passive-aggressive moments, and some sources even claiming they feared a physical altercation might break out during the show's taping. The divide between the two was growing, and fans were starting to notice. But now, with Marsau's name linked to the crash, things were taking an even darker turn. As the rumors surrounding the crash and Marsau's possible involvement intensified, many fans began to speculate that revenge may have played a role. Could Marsau have been following Martell in the G-Wagon that day, deliberately causing the crash as some form of retaliation for past grievances? Some fans certainly thought so, and the theories started flooding social media. One fan tweeted, "This wasn't an accident. Marsau was jealous of Martell's comeback energy. Something about this feels off." Another comment suggested that the G-Wagon wasn't just following Martell, it was hunting him. The accusations started to grow louder by the hour. The theory gained even more traction when it was revealed that Marsau's G-Wagon had no license plates at the time of the crash. Fans began comparing old photos of Marsau's G-Wagon to the footage of the vehicle seen following Martell, and the evidence seemed to line up. People started demanding answers, with some even tagging law enforcement and media outlets to make sure this investigation was taken seriously. While fans were pushing for answers, law enforcement was quietly continuing their investigation. Detectives began reviewing GPS logs for both Martell's and Marsau's vehicles, comparing timestamps and routes to see if the G-Wagon had been in the area during the crash. They also pulled cell tower data to check for any pings from Marsau's phone during the time of the incident, which could confirm if his phone was nearby. In addition to this, more surveillance footage was reviewed from businesses and homes close to the crash site to trace the G-Wagon's movement both before and after the collision. Perhaps the most crucial part of the investigation was focused on Marsau's vehicle itself. Investigators were looking for any signs of damage, like collision scratches or paint transfer, that could potentially match Martell's SUV. If such evidence is found, it could completely shift the direction of the case. Meanwhile, Marsau has remained silent. There has been no public statement from him, no thoughts or prayers for Martell, and no attempt to address the growing storm of speculation surrounding his name. Sources close to the production of Love and Marriage, Huntsville have confirmed that filming has been paused, with cast members divided over how to handle the situation. Some want to speak out and support Martell, while others are keeping their distance, worried that any public comments could backfire if the situation turns legal. The show itself has been impacted by the ongoing drama. What was supposed to be another season of reality TV entertainment has turned into a real-life mystery, with tension running high both on-screen and off. And as fans continue to speculate about the events leading up to Martell's crash, the big question remains, will the truth ever come to light? Will Marsau be held accountable if he's involved? And what does this all mean for the future of Love and Marriage, Huntsville? For now, we can only wait for the investigation to unfold. Martell remains unconscious, and his silence speaks volumes in a case full of unanswered questions. The public's thirst for answers is growing, and with each new piece of information, the mystery becomes even more tangled. But until the truth is revealed, all we can do is follow the clues and hope that justice is served. As the investigation continues, what do you think really happened that day? Do you believe Marsau was involved, or is this all just speculation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new updates on this story.